Welcome to Designed for the Creative Mind, a podcast for interior designers and creative entrepreneurs to run their business with purpose, efficiency, and passion. Because while every design is different, the process should remain the same. Prepare yourself for some good conversations with amazing guests, a dash of Jesus, and a touch of the woo-woo, and probably a swear word or two. If you're ready to stop trading your time for money and enjoy your interior design business, you are in the right place. I'm your host, Michelle Lynne. Hello. Welcome back to the podcast, everybody. And it has been a hot minute since we have had Debbie and Megan, who are the senior designers at ML Interiors Group, with us. So welcome back to the podcast, girls.
Hi.
Good to see you. Yay. So today we are going to be talking about the client journey and kind of talking about how we used to run some of our design projects and how we have evolved with the times and the pros and cons of it. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about what we used to do, just a quick overview. And basically, well, one, we were busting our ass doing our designs way too quickly.
Yes. Way too quickly.
So we didn't know any better. We thought that we, as people pleasers, we just wanted to get these designs to our clients as quickly as possible.
Yeah. And then we learned if you just communicate with your client and let them know that it's okay that it takes, 3 months to get one out.
Exactly. Have we had any complaints?
No.
Not
as long as we communicate.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think the difference is that one kitchen that we did that we expedited, and then they traveled overseas while we were doing it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But they paid
they paid
a premium.
FedEx, not the post office pricing.
So first of all, y'all who are listening, is that it takes more than a few weeks or a month to get a design done.
Yeah.
Now,
depending on the spaces. And the level that goes into each room,
we've evolved with our designs too. Yeah. Plus, you guys were working designs at the same time. So even if it was a month, it was probably 2 months of each of your time.
Yeah.
So
and it was very stressful.
Mm-hmm. It was
very stressful.
Late nights.
Yeah.
Late nights. The work week became bigger than it should have been.
Yeah. So if y'all are working that much, that hard, and getting designs done that quickly,
you don't need to.
Yeah. Relax.
It's not a life.
Yeah. We're not working in the ER. So there's not that big sense of urgency under most circumstances. So we've always worked, well, not always, but once we nailed down our processes and procedures, which, as a shameless plug, if you guys need help with that, we have our paid mentorship program, the Interior Design Business Bakery. Commercial over. Okay. But once we nailed down our processes, we've had it pretty organized that we have our designs broken down into 4 phases: research, development, procurement, and then installation. So with that, we used to just cram all the research and development kind of into a short period of time. Mm-hmm. Now our research is extended. It's part of our sales process. And hey, there's another shameless plug for our workshop that happens probably 5 or 6 times a year, the Rolling in the Dough workshop. We teach a lot of that. But our research is as we're going through our sales process, but then it continues into the development phase.
Yes.
So
you're always researching.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the client's journey. In the beginning, we have them, it probably takes 3 to 4 weeks from the initial phone call to the signing of the contract.
Oh, yeah. Easily.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. As we walk them through just a variety of different steps. Mm-hmm. Whereas before, we didn't go through and come up with as detailed of a scope of work.
No, there was almost a little bit of guesswork involved as the project would go on. But now we take that out in the beginning and we get all the information, even what they don't think they want, that they really do want, that they don't know they want, out of the way ahead of time, through a series of conversations.
Right. Mm-hmm. And then we propose that as their scope of work. And if we need to, we can break it down in phases, which I think before we were so underpriced, we didn't have to do phases because they just said, do it all.
Do it all. And so now they understand that it takes a long time for design, and it's okay that it's more of a relationship than it is a boom in and out.
Let's talk about some of that research too. Oh, that's a cute picture. Megan's phone just popped up and she's got a almost 6-month-old
baby in the
as her screensaver. So let's talk a little bit more about how did we used to interview our clients?
a questionnaire.
Yeah, I think we really just relied on that questionnaire, which was even generic. We've improved that since then too. I mean, it was we guessed a lot, and we thankfully nailed a good chunk of it, but also had a good chunk of revisions,
Yes, definitely.
And then that was time consuming.
We didn't ask enough ahead of time.
No.
And why do you think we didn't? Because I know that the audience probably feels the same way.
I don't know if maybe it was just you're being hired as the professional and you should know what they need. But sometimes even since they don't really know what they need, and the only way to find that out is to ask. And then just asking questions, sometimes you're intimidated because does that make you look like you're an idiot?
Insecurity.
And just, did they know what they're doing? Why are they asking me this?
Well, and I feel like it's gotten even more personal too. Our client level, our design level, and it was just very generic maybe at the beginning.
But even think about Julie.
But still
in Hearst, not in Hearst.
That's funny. In Frisco.
Oh, her last name.
That's funny.
Yeah. Which it was still, I feel,
it's definitely, I think that so part of the message that I want in this particular podcast is that as designers, you don't have to know it all. And, our client journey has gotten more detailed. It's gotten a lot longer, but we're able to charge more because our deliverables are better because we're not having to poop them out in 30 days.
That and our vendors also increased. And the level of product has improved with all the performance fabrics and all these different things that it's not special in a project. It's expected in a project.
Yes.
And so the level, I guess, of knowledge going in towards even that has improved.
We've definitely
And
evolved.
then there's also something we relied on is taking their word as they knew what they were saying and talking about. Like a lot of clients say they want a particular style, and what they think that style is actually isn't.
Yeah.
Right.
And so just because they say they want
X, Y, or Z
farmhouse and they live in more traditional home, maybe what they think they want isn't exactly what they want because their version of it's just misinterpreting a term.
That, and I've learned even just recently, we had a client, I thought with her existing product was very traditional, and turns out she's transitional and like a little bit of not rustic, but has that heavier feel. Yeah. And she didn't even know that.
Yeah. She thought she was glammy.
Yeah.
Yeah. No more Z Gallery.
So I think just educating them and then them trusting what's in your head to extract that out and to make their vision even better.
Which is also part of our research, is that we're educating our clients on a lot of our processes. Let me interrupt myself to take a quick moment to thank Satinoff Insurance Agency for sponsoring this episode of the Designed for the Creative Mind podcast. Their support and understanding of the interior design, decorating, and home staging industries is unrivaled. Satinoff understands what our businesses do, and they provide insurance that lets me sleep at night. Yep, this is the firm that I use, and they will do the same for your sleep habits and your business too. They're more than an insurance agency, they're an extension of my business. They take care of the worry because they are the experts, which allows me and my team breathing room to do what we do best, design beautiful spaces. You can find their contact information below in the show notes. Give them a call today. So let me ask y'all something. Are you showing clients what you're specifying before the final design presentation?
Are you asking us?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
We didn't used to, but we do now.
There you go.
There might be one or two things, for example, that I might surprise her with because I don't want to work with her existing rug. There is a better solution.
Yes.
And there's a solution for her existing rug. Not that it's a bad rug, but that I'm kind of pulling on her last minute because it would look better with everything in front of her versus the onesie twosie things.
Yes.
And she can visualize a lot. So knowing your client as well, knowing what can overwhelm them is something you need to think about when showing them everything. But she's practically seen the whole presentation.
There you go.
Yeah.
And before we thought that was going to ruin our services.
Right. It's like, cause the surprise,
HGTV.
They ruin a lot of things.
And it's still a surprise when they get to see your energy level presenting it.
Mm-hmm.
The presentation's actually cleaned up and it doesn't have like a million ideas on it. And then you have all the fabrics in front of them.
Where they're going. Because it's okay if they love a fabric. Yeah, I'm going to use this. I just don't know where yet.
Right.
So the surprise and maybe what that fabric is and where it's working with other fabrics.
So they've seen the fabric. They've loved the fabric. And then you throw it on hey, we're going to put it on this chair and this is the pillow that's going to go with it and all the
finish of the leg.
So it's not ruining it.
And then you're whining and dining them. And so just the whole experience, it's still fun. It's still like, ooh, yeah. And you still get them even more excited.
So I think that has been a big game changer for us as we've evolved in, like Megan was talking about earlier, our skills, our vendors, our deliverables have elevated in, the last 5 years, just like a growth spurt.
Yeah.
Almost like a teenager.
It takes the stress level out of the business side of it too, because you know that they're happy and you don't have that anxiety leading up to a design presentation after you just worked your butt off.
Right.
You know that they know what's coming up.
You still get a little
crazy.
Well,
that's just me.
And and it's still
consistent
because you still don't know. I mean,
usually
they could change their mind.
It's more so on. Yes, you love it all, but do you realize it comes with a price? And so sometimes, having those conversations like, okay,
because you can
keep
talk
adding
about
stuff
and talk about budget, and it's not just furniture; it's your receiver, it's the freight and shipping.
That's usually the hardest. That's what remains is the stress. But if you let them know along the way, like if you take them to a showroom to sit on a chair, depending on that showroom, there may be a retail price on it. And it's like, look, I don't know what yours is going to cost, but that's a ballpark because it's a different finish. It's a different fabric. It's multiple fabrics, blah, 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 blah.
Well, and sometimes they think they want something and then maybe you take them to a showroom and they want something
that's more expensive and it blows the budget.
Or even after the design presentation, you had the one that changed the side tables.
Yep.
And then you had to blow the budget there because of the bigger rug. But it's that conversation because Debbie's had some clients that just kept adding to their project. Hey, let's do this, let's do that. And she's like, this doesn't fit into your budget originally, right? And they were just like, okay, not a problem.
It's all right. We want to do it. Yeah. Well, it's a lot of while we're at it. So, but even when you do have the while we're at it, you still keep them in the loop along the way.
Well, and you create a new scope of work as necessary. So it's not just one of those while you're here. What do you think about this?
Yeah, and then we just do it. Free.
No. And I think that's important as well. So the client journey has been extended. It's given us better deliverables, but then it's also allowed you to get to know your clients better.
Totally.
You know how they live, they're a little bit more about their family, about what they're doing, what their likes are, their lifestyle, what they value.
Level, if there's going to be a lot of people over or if there's not, the comfort, do you want your family room to be loungy or sophisticated?
What do they value? I mean, as far as, they don't care so much for the little things, but, they want like the high end appliances. Well, that's going to cut into the other things. That's okay. We still want a performance fabric on our sofa. Well, it's okay.
But that's also part of what we consider
that
research, but it's also educating the client and not being, I think one of the things that I'm proud of is that we're not as shy about talking about money with them.
Right.
As we've grown, the clients' budgets have grown and we've worked out of most of our own money stories when it comes to our clients.
For sure.
So I think that's been super helpful and just educating them and saying, okay, I know you want that fancy fridge, but that's going to top off your budget. Where do you want us to cut back? And oftentimes they don't want to cut back.
And how does that fancy fridge snowball into the rest of the kitchen? So it's a lot of, it's like, okay, you have to be, the devil's advocate sometimes and say, okay, I just want you to know, yes, we can work that in, but we're going to have to change the cabinetry with this.
Right.
You're going to lose space here, blah, 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 blah. You've got to, sometimes they think,
you can just pop it out and pop it in.
Just boom. And then they have to wait for it too. But it's just a lot of different things. Like, just, you have to anticipate that there's going to be these expenses coming ahead and just give them that disclaimer ahead of time saying, this is out of my control.
Right.
You know, and I don't know what the contractor is going to try, can go on for days.
It definitely does snowball. But also before, when we were just doing their designs, we had to go and shoulder all of those decisions and thoughts and juggle around without even talking to them. It's like, duh, why weren't we talking to them and asking them questions? We were making decisions for them, thinking that we were doing them the best service. But those conversations are not ignorance. No, it's not stupidity. It is ignorance about how they live and what they want. So, if you're not having conversations with your clients because you think you should know it all, quit shooting on yourself.
Yeah, pretty much.
Do you enjoy this podcast and you're wondering how you can start your own? Well, you're in luck. We help entrepreneurs launch their podcast in 4 weeks. My name is Haley Murch, and my team and I manage this podcast. I'm a podcast expert who specializes in helping entrepreneurs launch their podcasts. Podcasts are a great way to expand your audience, provide a free resource for your audience, and to grow and monetize your business. We have openings this fall to help entrepreneurs start their podcasts. We would love to help you achieve this goal before the end of the year. Don't keep waiting. The podcast world needs your voice. We also offer support after the launch process to help maintain your podcast, and we do provide other services to current podcasters. If any of this sounds like something you want to do and need support with your podcast journey, please contact me at hello@haleymerch.com, HAILIMURCH.com, or see the links in the show notes to book a call. We cannot wait to help you start your podcast.
So then the clients, they see the design pulled together. I think you touched on it earlier. Another benefit of having all these conversations is a lot fewer revisions.
Yes.
Like if any.
Right?
Yeah.
Hardly any.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because if it's like 1 or 2.
Dude, you have nailed like the past 3 big presentations and with very few.
One fabric.
Yeah. Out of 3 designs.
Yep. Because they didn't want their cat to scratch on the outside of a chair. So we changed one fabric and that was it. But it's
a lot of conversations.
It's a lot of conversations. It's a lot of detail. It takes a lot of time. It's managing expectations, which is key to keeping your sanity.
Talk about that a little bit.
You just have to let them know. There's a lot of things in this world that are out of our control, even before they were out of our control. But, things take time. Things take money. With fuel prices, fluctuating, we get unexpected fees for freight. Sometimes there's unexpected surcharges, and just letting them know, look, at the end of the day, this we estimated, because we do estimated freight based on the numbers that vendor gives us, but we just tell them at the end of the day, one might be higher, one might be lower. We're going to settle up at the end of the project, but there could be another check, but that's it. Just manage their expectations and no one has complained.
Yeah. And again, it's just setting those expectations and not, it's like it is a relationship, but I liken it to, expectations with us working together, expectations when you're married, if your expectations are not met, that's when frustration occurs.
Yeah. And that means zero communication, because you wouldn't have those expectations if you just communicated.
And as you develop this relationship with your clients by keeping them informed along the way, when mistakes happen, because we are human, they know you as a person too, because you talk about yourself and your life. And that's so if if you forget something, it's like, oh, whoops, I forgot the ice maker on the appliance order, which did happen. I'm not afraid to have that conversation because I know these people and they know me and they know I didn't do it on purpose, that it was just an oversight and it happens. And
it's a relationship.
It's
both ways.
It goes both ways. It's, you try to keep those to a minimum, but when they do happen, it's not, they know you.
Yeah. And you can almost laugh about it and say, whoops.
Yep.
Blonde moment.
Yep. But it was ordered. Yes. It was ordered.
It was.
Yeah. Anyway.
So I think that's good. So the revisions are less. And then how has our client journey changed during procurement?
Well, our procurement system in general has changed so much since we first started. So that alone.
Yeah. So let's just say outsource that shit. Makes a huge difference.
Yes.
So why were we procuring our own stuff?
We thought we were saving money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And more time efficient and all this stuff and
Control.
Because you know the items that you source, you have the relationships, so might as well just order them.
Right.
When you don't have to do that at all.
So what would you tell the designer who says, I can't afford to outsource?
Charge more for your design fee.
And
charge for procurement and cover those expenses.
Yeah, because you shouldn't be paying for procurement. The client should be.
It's your time. Why not have someone who's not a designer do that for you and manage those logistics and those orders for you?
Because then you can crank out more designs.
Yep. And you can spend your time more efficiently and you don't have to chase dining tables and stuff.
And that was the goal for us was like, we needed to be spending our time wisely and use our talents where they're at and get somebody else to manage this stuff.
Because when we weren't charging for it, it would just eat away at our profits out of the design fee.
Well, we charged for it, but because we charged a percentage of the flat fee that we charged for the design fee.
Right.
But at the same time, it was taking money out of our pocket because it was time out of the day that you couldn't design. And at the end of the day, we make money designing. We don't make money procuring.
And it was pushing out our schedule.
Yeah.
Because we had to make sure that there was enough time because it's just as time consuming to do procurement as it is to design.
Then you get interrupted when you're in the middle of a design with procurement stuff that you have to chase down right then. And then it knocks you out of the design zone.
Yep.
And that goes back to when we didn't plan well for how long a design would take because we think, we're going to be done with this design, but we were doing the procurement ourselves. And so we were unfortunately basically overwhelming our workload by managing the procurement when we were telling people we could get designs done because we were still on these projects. Now we can hand off the procurement to somebody else and it makes us more time efficient as well with the designs. And
our clients can interact directly with that person that we outsource to and they know that their details are being 100% focused by her and not torn.
That, and I would say it even allows a small buffer for you. If the client comes to you with a question, technically you're not handling it. So let me get back to you. I will reach out to you so-and-so and let you know. And it kind of just gives it also like, just it's not your fault if something else happens.
I'll find out when I get the tracking report.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. So it kind of just gives you a little bit of buffer, which is nice.
So throughout the research, the design development, the procurement, and then the installation phase, how has our client journey evolved like from when we were busting our booties trying to get these done so quickly? Do you see that? So let me ask you this. Are we delivering in more than one installation?
Yeah.
Or do you find that we just have like one big HGTV reveal day?
It just really depends.
Usually there's a big one, like
and then a few smaller
and a few small. It depends on the items.
Yeah.
But waiting until the very end, it's just been because the delivery times have been so weird. But we try.
Well, yeah, because it makes more sense because it's more expensive to go out and deliver than it is to store it. So it's like, if somebody doesn't care and they just want their items, cool, that's their choice and they can pay for it. Again,
so they can pay for 2 or 3 deliveries.
Right. And that's as long as you tell the client, like, look, because we tell clients, we just pass on the invoices. We don't mark it up. That's up to you, designers out there. But no, it is more expensive to hire guys, drive out there, even depending on the location.
The crew.
Yeah, they spend a couple of hours.
There's travel time involved.
Well, and they have to pull all the furniture and all the things.
So it is less expensive to store it, which is usually why we do a overall large install. And then depending on the items, like Debbie said, onesie, twosies.
Yeah, if something's been back ordered for 18 weeks.
But we also, with construction delays, sometimes it takes a little bit longer, but they understand that they don't want their stuff if there's still painting or sanding or something to be done. And so it's been very helpful not to promise. So we under promise and over deliver by not saying, you don't have to tell them every single item and when it's expected ship date. Usually it's like, if there's one thing, we're ones or twosies are coming in, we're waiting for this before we can schedule ETA. 6-7 weeks.
And that's a great point, because during procurement, like, our job is to protect the client from all of the details. They pay us to know and to get things done properly. If they want to know, that's great, but we do not need to inundate them with, this is back ordered until June. Oh, this is back ordered again until August. This is back, like all the things. they need to be updated, but just keep in mind that our job is to protect the client. They're busy. Their mind is, think about how many things are going through your head. Mm-hmm. They have their own busy lives. They have their own busy jobs. They have their own busy families. They have a lot of things going through their head as well. If you just tell them, hey, I'm going to take the majority of stuff, deliver it in 3 weeks or whatever, and then there's going to be a couple back ordered things, I'll handle those too.
Right.
You can share with them what they are and kind of what you're intending, but just keep that in mind.
And I'd say if there are those clients out there, which there are, it's going back to the expectations and managing your expectations.
Yeah, because some of them want all that information.
Because it's easy to fall into that. And typically designers are people pleasers anyways. So you want to get those answers. But if you just set the expectation at the beginning and communicate, like we've been saying, then they aren't get so disappointed when something's back ordered or blah, blah, blah.
And they should trust you based on the relationship you've developed through the research and the development stages.
Yeah.
So they trust you that you didn't just take their money and ran with it. Because some people are a little nervous about that if they're writing a big check and it has someone else is managing their purchasing. So it's they need to trust you.
I think that's a very valid point. That's a lot of our research and sales phase is just setting those expectations and those boundaries and stuff. So something else that we've changed, I think, this is not just about the client journey. This is kind of like the ML Interiors journey as we've evolved, is the accessories. So we used to, again, like bust our ass to try to get all the details done and handled and presented and approved and revised and all the things, including accessories. And I know a lot of designers do it that way. And hats off to you. That's just not our strongest suit. So we have, instead of purchasing a shit ton of accessories and some of them not working, but they already paid for it. So we need to put that vase in the corner. Where's it? It looks okay.
A lot of it's not returnable.
Right. Yeah. We have broken it down into a separate phase. So how has that worked for y'all in regards to the effectiveness, the client experience, and so forth?
It's nice that you don't have to think about it until after installation. You may have like little ideas in your head, but a lot of times it turns out differently than what you originally think is going to happen.
Well, yeah, because even though, we're good at visualizing and all of that stuff, it's still the overall feel is always different. Like once you put in the new stuff, the new selections, the new design, and I think that helps the client too. Like, oh yeah, I thought, because maybe they want their house full and they see, oh, I don't want that.
Right.
So it's nice to assess everything once the new items are in and then you go from there and you do a walkthrough.
And you can stand through the room that's almost done.
Yep.
Yeah. I think it has been a lot easier. I think it's less expensive for our clients with a better outcome.
Yep.
Because, and for us, because I'm not going to buy the accessories back.
Well, not only that, and it's still just as time consuming again. So if you don't charge enough hours or within that sum of, design fee, and you get to the end and you're like, oh crap, we still have to do accessories and we're out of hours, so that's what's nice about a phase 2 is you look and say, okay, it's going to take 20 hours to do this. It's going to take so many hours to go shopping, which is just as much. And then installing.
Yeah. So it is definitely.
Yeah. And you're getting paid for it.
Yeah.
And that's another communication that accessories fee is not only just purchases, it's the
design,
selection, the purchasing, the procurement of it, because you don't.
Yeah, you might be ordering it online. You might be ordering it in
figuring
person.
It out, and then the installation. So it's all of it combined. You've got to take those hours because sometimes it takes just as much time.
Yeah, so it's those little details, and the details make the design. So yeah, I guess, so we were going to say this is the client journey podcast, but I think it's the client journey. The client journey evolves as your business evolves. So if you're sitting back and you're thinking, oh, I should be doing this, that, and the other, give yourself the grace to know that you have to evolve your skills. You have to evolve your planning. You have to evolve your processes. You have to evolve in your pricing in order to continue to elevate your client's experience. So it is a journey. It's not just the client experience, it's a client journey all the way through the design process. Any words of wisdom before we wrap up, girls? I think this was fun.
Yeah.
Kind of. But okay, so that's also like a really good example. Debbie says that, you might be in the middle of a design and it changes and it wasn't exactly what you anticipated. So was this recording of a podcast.
Yes.
Right. So give yourself the grace that you don't have to have everything figured out as you go into it, because it evolves. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's a natural progression, like our conversation. The design it's like a living creature. Mm-hmm. It grows like a child, and it's going to change. So just give yourself that grace.
Yeah.
Anything else? All right. Well, Debbie and Megan, thanks for being here. It has been a hot minute. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So much fun. And for those of you who are listening, if it is the summer of 2022, a reminder that we have our Interior Design Business Success Summit coming up in October here in Dallas, Texas. And also another shameless plug for our paid mentorship program. It's called the Interior Design Business Bakery, and you can find that on our website, Designed for the Creative Mind. So thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Bye. Hey, y'all. If you love the show and find it useful, I would really appreciate it if you would share with your friends and followers. And if you like what you're hearing, want to put a face with a name, and get even more business advice, then join me in my Facebook group, the Interior Designers Business Launchpad. Yeah, I know, it's Facebook. But just come on in for the training and then leave without scrolling your feed. It's fun. I promise you'll enjoy it. And finally, I hear it's good for business to get ratings on your podcasts. So please drop yours on whatever platform you use to listen to this. We're all about community over competition. So let's work on elevating our industry one designer at a time. See you next time.